I literally told myself I was not gonna cry, and I'm like 10 seconds in this video. Hey you guys, my name is Stella Williams, and today I am on the channel teaching you guys how to bounce back after a breakup. It's been about a month since my last YouTube video. Before I completely spiraled, I wanted to learn from past mistakes. You guys have been through a lot of breakups with me, but this one hurt different. I genuinely thought this was like, we thought we were each other's people, like definitely thought I was marrying this man, definitely thought he was the father of my children, like in love completely with this man. Fuck. I literally told myself I was not gonna cry, and I'm like 10 seconds in this video. It's been about a month and I haven't filmed any videos because, quite frankly, you guys have been through breakups with me where I have been known to myself to do all the toxic things you're not supposed to do after a breakup. The hookups, the frivolous posting, all the dramatic things. I maybe posted one or two things that I didn't agree with on here, but just really unhealthy ways to cope with breakups. And this time I decided I was doing something different. I found a wonderful therapist where I live, and this time I decided to go at it a different approach to heal and to feel. I am the queen, call it Leo energy, call it being irresponsible, whatever, but I am the queen of bouncing back in the way of like, forget them, I'm just gonna go date somebody else. I'm someone who definitely used to be like, I'm just gonna go date someone else, I'll find someone. If you're not a fit, someone is. Many fish in the sea, whatever that thing is, like there's always going to be a guy. So this time I decided to do something completely different and actually sit with my feelings, because I knew this was gonna hurt, because I've been through it once before with this person. It hurt a lot. And instead of doing things that were not, it still hurts, but instead of doing things that were unhealthy, I am working really hard to become secure in my attachment with who I am and continue to be the woman that I've been becoming and someone I'm really proud to be. And I was not gonna let this breakup stop that. It did, spoiler alert. But today I'm gonna take you through my 10 steps of how to bounce back after a breakup. I wrote them on a notepad. Of course, you guys know I love notes. Dang, what is this? Oh, part of this, I guess I wrote him a letter. I'm never gonna send it, but I wanted to make this because if you do have toxic behavior, I feel like especially with popular media and music, it's really easy to just and TikTok especially, it's easy to just bypass your real feelings and just move on, even if you're hurting or painful, or you know, it's okay to say I'm hurt. It's okay to say this hurt me. It's okay to say I was in love with this person. It's okay to say I was emotionally invested and right now I'm emotionally unavailable. Like, it's okay to admit these truths. And especially with TikTok and music, it's so easy to just put on this front like you're not hurt, or put on this front like whatever, there's men, like we know there's a million men in the sea, like I can go freaking fishing right now. That's not the point though. The point is, what do you want? Who are you? How invested were you? If you were invested, like I literally thought I was marrying this man. Like we're gonna leave it at that. I literally thought this was like the one. In hindsight, definitely not the one, but it still hurts. Like I still am in love with this person, and I haven't talked to them in a very long time. And now I'm realizing I'm in love with a figment of my imagination. So processing that. So there's just so much to healing, and today I just want to offer some support, which has helped me, and I feel like I'm a good candidate to do this because you guys have seen me be so toxic after breakups, and this time I don't believe I was. I had moments, but I'll be real about them because no one's perfect. I'm definitely not perfect, but as someone who's actually healing and trying to rid as much toxicity even within myself away from myself, I think I'm a good person to help share some tips and get going. So step 1, don't repeat mistakes of the past. The whole point of this for me is to not repeat my old patterns. I had a lot of toxic patterns that I just knew after breakups I did, and I wanted to just be different. So don't make mistakes of the past. So for myself, it would be posting videos, literally going on Tinder, doing hookups, almost going sugar daddy routes, like all these things, like get on my hot girl shit essentially. All these things that I no longer align with as a woman, as someone's future wife, as someone who's building legacy. I don't align with those parts of who I used to be. And a key to that is recognizing that that is no longer who I am, and radical acceptance of I respect myself enough to acknowledge and move like that is no longer me. And it was really, really hard. I think I announced my breakup online in a video. It was nothing, I'll post it right here because it is deleted.
And that's what I get for screaming my man, my man, my man too loud. Next.
But it was nothing crazy, but it was my truth. And it was the beginning of those stages of what I was talking about before, of, again, posting everything. And everything isn't to be online. And so I could see myself starting that. Literally, I posted that right after the breakup. And I think why that was is because with this person, we were so on and off that if I said it publicly that we were no longer together, for myself, it was like it was accountability. Like I could hold myself accountable. Literally the whole world knows. And because of ego or pride or whatever, I wouldn't go back to you. What I didn't consider is how the other person would feel. But you know, when I feel like when you break up with someone, how the other person feels is no longer your responsibility. Never is it really your responsibility, but your consideration. It was my cry. It was my cry of like, I'm so sick of being put through this stuff I was being put through. Who I turned into because I wasn't respecting my own boundaries, because I had none, like all these things, because I couldn't be strong. That was my reach and cry for strength. So one bad thing for me is posting things that don't belong online. Half the time posting my relationships in general, which I felt comfortable doing. We dated before, we've been together for a while. I was like, whatever, like I'm like, this is my person. After that weekend and we broke up, I just posted something and I was like, we're no longer together. Again, I don't agree or align with that at all, but what it did was something really effective. It made the breakup pretty permanent. It cut communication. It did what I needed it to do. I needed to get out of this cycle of my self-esteem being broken down, and me taking it and retaliating back against this person. You know, things that were just so toxic to myself. This was like my cry for help. This was like I'm done. The whole world knows now. I'm done. That was good, but not good, because I feel like there would have been healthier ways to manage my own emotions and manage my own decisions to move forward and not be in a relationship anymore. But I didn't have the tools, nor the self-will, nor the self-respect, or the self-esteem at the time to do that without the drama, without the dramatics. And I do respect this person. I do acknowledge that they're not for me, but I respect them on a human level. So I'm not going to like drag them or, you know, air out what happened or dirty laundry, whatever. So that was the best I was willing to do. So mistakes of the past from there would be continue posting about it, make crying videos, like not for the dramatics, but because YouTube is how I express myself, whether good or bad. And this time deciding not to do that, at first almost felt like protection, like, oh, I don't want to air out our laundry or whatever, even my bad stuff. I mean, I was not perfect. Like, it's not necessary, right? It's not necessary. I have a lot of purpose in my life. I have a lot of good things going, and I want my channel to be my life, yes, but it doesn't mean I need to react. I need to respond more. And I was already working on that within the relationship. So this was my perfect opportunity to implement it. So responding would not be getting on here, guys, I'm single, I don't know what to do. Responding is taking a step, taking care of myself, taking a beat, and now a month and some change later, I'm sitting here in front of the camera. So I'm really, really happy that I'm making this video not one day later, but over a month later, and it's good. So do not make the same mistakes of the past, even if you really, really want to. There were times like I made some petty TikToks, but nothing directly to them. I didn't do the petty shit I used to do. I didn't go out here, get on my camera, get drunk. For me, that's me. For you, it may be going out, getting drunk, sleeping around. It may be you getting depressed, which I did, which we'll talk about. You know you. So it may look different for you in your stage of your journey. But for me, I was like, no, I'm different, and I'm gonna show myself I'm different, so let's do this different. So that is step one. Don't repeat the mistakes of the past. Step two, feel everything, don't conceal. This was the hardest part of the breakup for me. I mentioned this before, I am definitely someone who can just move on to the next, but the problem with that is you're not really moving on. For instance, when I dated this person in 2019 and we broke up, when I decided to move on and I had a boyfriend, and then like it would move so fast. I think like between I love you and engagement, it happened within like 2 months. The whole time I was still in love with my ex. So for me, I was like, again, something needs to be different. We're not going to repeat that. I'm not going to go to my next, I can't even fathom that right now, but whenever that happens, I'm not going to go to my next and repeat that cycle of still being hung up on you. So with the help of a therapist, I decided to feel, and let me tell you, it was depressing. I want to also say, like, I'm really like 2 months in before I knew it was really over, but 1 month since the official breakup. So for a month, like, I had my hardest of my depression and just down bad, and just I made myself feel it. And I had the guiding light. I do believe in God. I also had the guiding light of my therapist, so I had resources, meditations, and all these things. But sometimes you don't need to fix the problem, just feel what you're feeling. Like, I didn't want to be the hot girl who goes back to the streets. I didn't want to be the person who's like, fuck man, I'm moving on. I didn't want that for myself. I wanted to process this so I can let it go for real, because I remember how I let it go 2-3 years ago, and I ended up moving on without letting go, and that didn't do anything but put me back in their arms. So it really just hurt a lot, and it was so sad. Sorry. It was so sad to see myself like that, to see myself in so much pain. Sorry. Because my world, like, I had let myself make a world for myself that revolved around them. So when I'm healing, it's still about them. And you know, my therapist would be like, well, what about you in this situation? And I couldn't even answer that. I'm like, who cares about me? Like, this person. And that was really tough. Like, I would have times where I would feel these waves of emotion coming on, or these memories or whatever, and I would literally just sit there and let myself feel it. That's why self-care is also important, so you can know how to like bounce back from that and what kind of helps you uplift your spirits. But the point is, I didn't just bypass it as soon as I started to feel it. I literally, if I was like, I'm setting a timer for 10 minutes and I'm just gonna feel this. Okay, if I don't set a timer and I'm just gonna feel this morning, this is what I feel. I didn't ignore what I was going through. So if I woke up that morning, I was feeling great, and then after the gym I started to feel sad, I let myself just feel sad for a moment. Or if I woke up and I felt horrible, I would let myself just sit there for a couple minutes and feel horrible. Before self-talk, before self-care, just feel. So number 3 is make sure it's over before it's over. And I think as women, not to, hopefully not them in the least sexist way, I think as women, we kind of detach way before a breakup ends, and we see things in our partner, we see things within ourselves that we just don't like, and I feel like we detach way before it's over. And I put that on the list, how to boss up after a breakup, because it makes the breakup process just like a smidge easier. I feel like you gotta make sure it's over, because if it's not and you're trying to move on, and even if you want it to be over and you're not at a place where you can stand up, I don't know if you guys know that TikTok sound, but if you can't stand up and move past it legit, it's gonna be a really tough cycle to break because you haven't broken it. So when I say make sure it's over before it's over, it's the moment where you decide, like, I am done with this interaction, with this relationship in my life. I am done and I'm ready to move on. I know it's going to be painful, but it is over. That moment of like, you have to choose yourself first. And I'm someone who struggles with this because I'm such an optimist in love. And before therapy recently, and before learning all these things about myself and myself desires and what I want, I would just linger things way too long for the optimism of it. And even if I knew it was over. So making sure you know it's over before it's over is key to ending things on a strong note, I do believe. Make sure that is what you want. It's okay to want what you want, because when they come back, if they send you a sweet message, if they call you your nickname, anything that can swoop you back in, you're probably going to fall into the trap. Don't let yourself do it. So make the decision and realize, I'm making a decision that is going to be so painfully hard for me to get through, maybe, everyone's different. And I'm making a conscious choice and intention that it is over. I'm going to have to stick beside myself and see this through. I'm done. Number 4, stages of grief started therapy. So I did mention this a little bit before. I allowed myself, they say when you go through a breakup, it's like grieving someone who's passed. And it's kind of true. Like, you, no matter what, like, I haven't talked to this person in a month, and no matter what, anything I know or think I know about this person is just a memory. I haven't talked to this person. I don't know this person anymore. I know how I've changed in a month. It's not my responsibility whether they've changed in a month or haven't. Point being is, this person is, I hate to be this bold, but this person is essentially dead to me. And it is like grief. It's this relationship that is torn from you, and you need to grieve it. And I think my therapist was definitely the person who was very helpful in that journey, because every Monday I meet with her, and every Monday I'd be at a different phase of the grief, the anger, the resentment, the denial. Gosh, was I in denial. I think I was more so in denial the month before we actually broke up, when we were like not talking, and just denial and anger and sadness and I felt everything. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I still feel everything. It's been like a month since the official breakup, but I'm skipping ahead to the good part, but I'm able to put myself first now, and I was not able to do that for like a solid 2 months. So you're gonna have to go through the stages of grief if you cared. And I think this whole video is pretty much if you cared, if you did love this person, if you were in love, you're gonna have to go through the stages of grief. It's very up and down, it's very ebb and flow, and it's not linear. My camera died, and then I definitely ate lunch, so I'm refreshed, I'm back. So where were we? Stages of grief therapy, cool. All right, so number 5 is no rebounding. Rebounding is not gonna make you feel better at all. And I knew this, and I think I'm no stranger to that this time. I definitely did not rebound in the sense of like hooking up with random strangers, but you know, people who like literally wait for you to be single, and they're like coming around, well, you're like, well, let me just see like what they're about. There's probably a reason you didn't end up dating them. And rebounding is not going to make you heal faster. It is not going to make you feel better, especially if you sleep with someone. Like, that's not going to heal the things you're working through. So to save yourself the added heartache, and you know what sucks too, is like when you meet someone in your healing stage, or you reconnect with someone and you're just like, there's like no physical possible way you can give yourself to someone when you need to refill your own self, when you need to heal and you need to be back to 100% within yourself. Like, rebounding is just not going to speed up that process, no matter how much you're convinced it's going to. It's just not. You're wasting your time, you're wasting the other person's time, and you just need to realize, like, you're probably masking some emotions you don't want to feel, but you need to allow yourself to feel them. So I do not believe in rebounding. If you really mean the breakup, don't rebound with your ex either. All right, number 6, reclaim who you are. Reclaim yourself. Okay, this is so important to me because I did a lot of growth in my last relationship, but one really cool thing that I learned about myself was, well, not cool, but I learned I gave up a lot of myself and a lot of my boundaries for someone. And I had to like reclaim that back. Like, I think about who I was before we started dating, like last summer. And I just left LA, and I was this person. I had all these new beliefs and music I was listening to and words I would never say, and just how I was, and so happy being that person and this evolved woman. And realizing that through my relationship, I let go of those new parts of me because I had dated this person in a very toxic time in my life. I'm in my hot girl summer, and coming back to them it didn't make me hot girl again, but what I did was allow myself to regress because we knew where each other were comfortable. So like, we're relearning who we were at this new phase of life. It's been a year, whatever, but the comfort of knowing someone made me act like who I used to be. So I felt like I had regressed all this progress I had made. And I'm not recommending doing that in any relationship ever, but it happened. So when I say reclaiming yourself, I feel like sometimes you may be really secure, but I wasn't. And so reclaiming parts of myself, that is a recent thing. That just happened over the weekend, where I was finally really able to shift my focus from them to me. And it's been months. So it takes time, but reclaiming yourself outside of that person. Stop thinking about if that damn person's gonna text you, if they're gonna call you, if they're gonna DM you, if they're gonna look at your profile. Like, stupid TikTok has this like blah blah blah, saw your profile. Like, I literally got to the point where I had to block. I used to like what was the first one? Don't repeat mistakes of the past. I used to block all my exes, and this one I was like, no, I'm gonna be better and different. But I realized I was waiting for these things. I was waiting for a call, waiting for a text, already knowing I didn't want them. So it's like remember who you are, relearn who you were, because you don't have to build some new person. Like, you know who you are, and you know your own growth journey detached. So I guess like detachment too. Detach yourself from that person. Who are you? In singular, in just you, who are you? You should be able to answer that. You should be able to be confident in that. And you should understand, like, one thing I'm going to say is so controversial, but it is, You don't need a partner. Like, I say that I'm like the worst person to say that. I love being in relationships, but I don't need to depend on a relationship. And that's hard for a lot of people, because I think the more we go through relationships, I think we realize like it's so much better being single. But what are your reasons you get in relationships? That's the other half. Like, you want someone to experience life with and build with and all these things. When you can get to a place of self-love, it's so beautiful to just function by yourself. Like, I'm really good at being single. I tell my therapist this all the time. I'm good at being alone. But the reason I continue to get in relationships and meet people and put myself out there is because I don't want to be, but I'm good at it. And remember this breakup. So like, let's speak from a breakup stance. It was very difficult to remind myself, bitch, you love being alone. You love reading your books before bed. You love waking up and making pancakes on Saturday. You love your bath time. You love your candles. You love going to explore. You love meeting new friends, new people out. You love to go out. You love to try new restaurants. You love to go to bars. You love to do all these things that I had inadvertently attached. I love to travel. I had attached to people. So when I say remember who you are, like, who are you? And if you shared these things with a partner and you now attach them to a partner, you need to detach that and reclaim it for yourself. Because I hate to tell you this, sweet cheeks, but whatever that person that you were dating, in love with, whatever, married to, whatever is going through right now is no longer your worry. You don't know. Unless you're in contact, you don't know. You gotta let that shit go. Because whatever they're thinking, they may not even be thinking about you. They may be thinking about you. It doesn't matter. Because you won't know. You're not gonna know. You don't know. Move on. And that's how you move on, is you remember. I say move on so easy, even though it took me like 2 months to get there, a month to get there. But I say that because I had to keep reminding myself, like, one day I'm gonna be able to move on. And actually, to be very frank with you, last week I was at a place of hopelessness. Like, why do I even need to move on? Like, I was so indifferent about moving on in life. I was like, why? Like, that's who God told me I was gonna be with. That was my person. They turned out to be a lesson. That was it for me. They were it for me. So why? And just so quick, I was able to see self-love in myself. I redid dates that I did with that person that I initiated, and remembered that. And when I did them myself, I was like, oh my gosh, I love to do this myself. I loved this. I showed this person this experience. And just remember that did not come, that happiness didn't come from them. It came from myself in that moment. And I chose to share an experience with someone so they could feel that feeling too. But I was able to reclaim my own feelings through doing things that I love. And I just happened to share that with someone else. So it was really nice to reclaim my power. And it took a long damn time, because I'm gonna be real with you. For the last 2 months, I say 2 months, 1 month of it not really broken up, month since the real breakup, I've been so worried about them. Like, are they hurting? Are they, how do they feel? Do they want me to reach out? Should I reach out? What do they want me? Who cares? And it took me a long time to realize they're probably like, you can't villainize someone to make yourself feel better. That's not gonna make you feel better. But 2, you can't predict, control, or assume what someone else's experience of life is. Because I guarantee you, your healing process, they can't assume for you. So, and it doesn't matter, because it doesn't affect your current life. You have to be self-sustaining. Love them from afar. I love how I naturally just segued into that. So love them from afar. Like, I even just had this conversation this morning. I do believe I still love my ex 100%. But I love them from a distance. I don't watch their stuff. I have love for them. I would like to be like, I just have love for them. No, I do still love them. I'm still very much in love with the person that I remember. And I'm healing from that, and I'm detaching every day, and it's a process, and it doesn't happen overnight. And every day it gets a little easier, which is also good advice to hear, because the first month I didn't think it would get easier. I was so depressed, like forcing myself to go to the gym just to get endorphins in my body. Like, it was bad. Loving someone from a distance doesn't mean you're attached to them. I'm no longer attached to my ex-boyfriend. I am detached from the relationship by choice. I am detached to who I was when I was with them. I'm detached to their role in my life and how it affected me, my emotions, my decisions, and how much I let them control myself. Like, I'm detached from the things that weren't working. And this is so important, because you can love someone. I think, again, back to the whole theme of this beginning of the video, like, music, TikTok, whatever will make you be like, forget that guy, move on, move on, move on. If you were truly in love with someone, you can't just fall out of love. Like, there is, a saying like, I'm in love with you, I'm not in love with you. But if you're still in love, let yourself feel that. But like me having the realization, I'm just in love with who I remembered. I'm in love with this figment of imagination. And a lot of times your brain will play tricks on you, like, I'm so in love with them, but you're in love with like the romanticized version of that. So how I got over that is, one, this letter. Two, when I was writing this love letter, like, oh my gosh, like all the things I wish I could say, it quickly became all the things that I did not like about them. And then again, maybe a month ago, I made a pro and con list. This is right after our official breakup. I made a pro con list. I was like, no, I just need to like move past this. And the pro list was like half the page and the con list went to the next page. So I was like, okay, so sometimes we're in love with like this romanticized version of who our partner was and not really them. But you can detach yourself from that and give yourself that love. One thing that helped me in our pre-breakup was we had this game by The And it's a couples game, and I played that with myself. It sounds so depressing to some people, but just hang in there. And it'd be questions that you're supposed to ask your partner to learn more about them, but I was asking myself these questions, like, do I know the answers to these questions for myself? So really learning self-love. I have a lot of self-love, but I mean from a non-egotistical place. I'm talking about from pure love for myself, respect for myself, as if I were a third person. Could I love myself in that external way, in that way that's like how I appreciate other people? Can I do that for myself? When I love him from afar, it's, you know, that slow process of falling out of love with someone, but also saying, you know, I'm going to not choose to follow your life anymore. I blocked you. I don't follow you. I don't want to have contact with you. I appreciate our relationship. I appreciate what it taught me. I appreciate our experience of it, but it is no longer. And I'm going to love you from an arm's distance, because even though I feel these ways about you and sometimes I want to go back and sometimes I want to reach out. I did reach out only one time though. Oh my gosh, I was so drunk and I was like, where are you at? And I was like, oh my gosh. But anyway, even though I feel like I was so upset at myself for that, but then it's part of the process. So give yourself grace. Even though you feel all these things, I don't even want to say protect, because I don't want you guys to think you have to be like in fight or flight. I'm going to respect though my decision to no longer be here. And sometimes it's the other way around, who we're broken up with. But that choice to say I'm moving on. So I love you. I love everything you've got going on. I love the person you are. It's just not a good fit for me. I feel like the bad end of that stick could be so much worse than, you know, saying I still love you, but bye. But like sometimes like we're talking abuse, we're talking like bad home situations if you live together, we're talking bad marriages if you guys are married, having kids, that's sticky. Like there's a lot of gray area, but at the good level, I love you, but I need to love me more. So I'm going to keep you away for my self-respect. And I think a lot of times with like twin flame, toxic, I definitely believe that was my twin flame. I think in those relationships, it's so important to break the cycle. You need to be able to be strong enough to just say, I am breaking this cycle, not only for myself, but generations that are gonna come after me. I'm breaking this curse. I'm breaking this toxicity. I'm moving on. I'm evolving. I'm moving past this. I'm growing past this. I love you, but I can't any longer. And it takes a lot of self-awareness, strength, resilience, and learning to get to that point. But I will say it's not just one day you wake up and say that. It's saying that when you don't even believe it yet, until one day you're like, wow, got a lot of love for that person, but you're over there. You're in my past. You're not even real anymore. You're not. You are a thought. You are a memory. You are in here, but I'm removed. Number 8 is support system. I could not have gotten through this breakup without my family and keeping it a bean. So in our pre-breakup, my aunt was staying with me. She had COVID. You know, she was with me during the worst parts of it, like the super depressed parts of it. It was bad. It was very, very bad. So after the official breakup, we were literally supposed to be on a trip together at this point. And I booked a trip home because home humbles me, home grounds me. And even though I'm home here in Maryland, I have different family in Texas, and I had gone through healing with them, and now I wanted to go be with my mom. I'm a mama's girl for sure. And it was just so healing, because even though I was feeling these like depths of like sadness and depression, I go home, there was so much love, and it really helped. And you know, I think this is around the same time where I reconciled with some people that maybe I used to talk to, and it felt cool to like see. I will never, this is why I say don't rebound, because you know, you may have a great date with someone, or someone may automatically treat you the way you felt you deserved to be treated and you weren't being treated. But again, back to that healing thing, you need to make sure you can heal. So not doing the rebounding, staying with the support system, reminding yourself, because I feel like sometimes during healing, you start to feel good. So you kind of like jump the gun. You're like, okay, well, maybe I can go on a date again. Exactly what I did. And it's too soon. So don't do that. Or, you know, connecting with someone really amazing and you're like, damn, I'm not emotionally available right now. So support is beautiful for me. My therapist and my family really are helping me through this breakup, and not only helping me get over them, but learn so much more about myself and the lessons, the things I did, my parts in the relationship that I don't ever want to bring to someone else, that I don't want to bring toward myself. Just kind of evolving again, leveling up, being someone different, having a lot of self-love, compassion, and grace. Support is amazing. Number 9 is acceptance doesn't mean forgotten. And that's what I think that kind of ties into number 7, love them from afar. Acceptance definitely doesn't mean that you forgot everything that you experienced with this person. But acceptance means that you're accepting that you have to kind of choose you in this moment, and you need to move on. You're ready to move on. You're ready to get that love you deserve. Maybe not even there yet, right? You're just accepting that you guys are no longer. And that's kind of like the final form of grieving anyway, but especially in a relationship, when you can accept, like, after all this internal struggle and battle and feelings and emotions, I can breathe, it's over. And my last tip for you guys today, number 10, is moving on. And this has to come after acceptance. If you have not sincerely accepted that your relationship is over, don't even consider moving on. Even if you're feeling good some days, even if some days are great, like, you can't move on until you accept that the relationship is over. And I don't mean move on to someone else. I just mean move on from that experience, right? This is all about how you boss up, how you heal, how you transform your own life. Moving on is the scariest part. Like, still, I know that they're probably, like, realistically, there's probably a good fit for me out there somewhere. But by moving on, I don't mean I'm anywhere near ready to, like, find that person or be open to that person. For me, moving on means I'm ready to continue my life in my orbit, in my healing process. I know I'm not completely healed, nor am I in a place where I would want to date, but I'm moving on. And I'm like, kind of like, okay, that relationship happened. I'm moving forward with my life, with my purpose. The breakup happened. I'm moving on from thinking about you, from obsessing about what you're thinking. Are you going to come over? Are you going to text? I'm done. I'm wrapping up that part of my life, putting a bow on it, tucking it away, protecting myself from allowing your energy to come back in my life, or to put myself in a situation where I have to heal from you again, because that shit hurts so bad I never want to do it again. And that's what I told myself the first time. Point being, I'm moving on. And I pray, and I know, and I couldn't even dream about this a week ago, but I hope that one day moving on means I'm in a better fitted relationship for myself, have the opportunity to connect with someone maybe even better, and not have them as a reference of what I want in life. But my life doesn't really revolve around men. Like, I have my own little ecosystem. I have my purpose. I'm living a brand new life in a brand new city, in a brand new state. And for myself, I'm moving on to appreciate the new space I am in life. No matter why things happened, it happened, and I trust God and I trust myself enough to know I made the best decisions for myself to be where I am right now. And I'm trusting and remaining open to the abundance around me, open to the love that may come my way, open to the healing. But I know that I'm moving on from what was to step into what is, and I can't even focus about the future because it's not real yet. So I'm focusing on my present. I'm remaining present as much as I can. If I feel myself kind of getting away from myself, I'm being very patient with myself in the healing journey, because that is what I really want for myself. Like, every year on my birthday, I just had a birthday, I didn't even post a birthday video. Like, that's how away I've been. But every year on my birthday, I kind of like do a vision board like people do on New Year's, but I do it on my birthday. And it's interesting because it's a Lionsgate portal day, and I didn't know that till this year. But it's like where I make all these manifestations, and I make it every year from my birthday to the new year. So August to January. And like, that's what I want to pour into right now, is this list of things. And love comes, but if I'm not the woman who's healed, or if I'm not in a place of being ready to welcome someone in my life with healthy boundaries and healthy mindset and fulfilled, then I don't want to I don't want to just jump into something else. And I kind of had this moment because Kim Kardashian, I guess on August 9th or sometime early August, broke up with Pete Davidson. And then I read on the news yesterday she's already ready to date again. And I'm like, what? And so I know that's how I used to be, and that no longer services me, and I really am hurting. So it makes it difficult, you know, when people do approach you, or, you know, maybe you do have someone from your past, you're like, well, let me try this person again. Like, it makes it hard to evolve and like level up from what you knew, because what you don't know is really scary. And what could, like, I'm terrified. I say I'm terrified, but I'm not really moving out of fear. God has me in a place right now where I am so I cannot imagine what God has for my life in terms of a partner, because I thought God had brought me this one person to be that person, to be my person. And in hindsight, looking at all the things that weren't working and what I couldn't see lasting a lifetime or being able to tolerate a lifetime, this only leaves room for me to build myself, build my boundaries, and allow God to do what God does and show me that person who is not only what I deserve, but I've evolved to and matured to appreciate and to take with care. Because a lot of times you date the same people until you realize you gotta stop attracting what you are. So you have to fix those parts of yourself and not tolerate nor accept the parts in other people, or people who represent something that's toxic for you, who doesn't work for you. I don't believe there are really bad people. I just feel like a lot of other things, like lack of boundaries and lack of communication and all these major concepts of relationships. Ew, is someone staring at me from the window? Weird. Major concepts of relationships make it harder to attract who maybe you need or really, really want. So I'm excited for my future. I think I am in this weird place still. I think in the last week, I'm for sure in a place of, you know, I do think there is someone for me, but I am nowhere near ready to even go there with my heart. Like I said, I feel still, I mean, it's very recent. I just kind of went through my breakup a month ago, but I do still feel so much love for this one person. I still can't imagine like a lifetime without them. So as good as all this sounds, as good as moving on sounds, like this is all a process. And I'm really happy that I'm able to feel the self-love and to boss up and to go back into purpose. And I'm really happy I took the time, not that I needed, not even saying like taking off time off work, but I just took the general time to feel like if someone, like a family member with good intentions was trying to be like, well, don't worry about them, or you deserve better, whatever, I was able to be like, no, like I really need to just feel this right now or I will not get past it. And I'm so grateful that people were patient with me, because every day I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to have a good day, a bad day, a good morning, a bad morning, if I'm going to be triggered by a song, triggered by anything. I've done the best to protect myself so I can move on, but I'm in a place now where it's like I'm moving on. Like that's a big deal. So I say all this to say, like, it's time to just reclaim yourself and move on. And that's what I'm doing. And it feels good because it feels authentic. It doesn't feel like fake. Like, you know, when you're when you're fresh off a breakup, you're like, fuck man, la la la. Like, that's not real. And right now I'm in a place of like, this is hard, but just because it's hard, no one said this was going to be easy. This is really, really hard, but I'm doing it. And every day that I just choose myself and detach from thinking about this person, or the detachment is the most critical part. And I'm so grateful for the experience. I think you should be grateful for your experience, your relationship, for whatever it taught you or helped you evolve into. But there's so much power in knowing yourself, knowing what you're capable of, knowing that there is a hope for the future, that there is, you know, your story's not done yet. God's not done with you. You're still living. There's so much to be grateful for, so much to work toward. I mean, it's probably not your first relationship. You got past the other ones, right? So I think it's really important not to victimize yourself, not to villainize other people, to take the hits, take the lessons, learn from it, appreciate the good times and move on, and know that, you know, you're whole without someone, but when you're ready again, there will be someone for you, and maybe a better fit to date, and someone you can be happy with and just make new memories with, and someone who will blow your mind of all the expectations you've ever had from a relationship. So I hope this video helped you. I know there was a lot of personal stories in here, but I feel like that's how you can just connect. That's how I connect to you guys more, through my personal stories and just sharing stories and experiences. So thank you so much for watching this video. And I'm excited to get back to work. So I will see you guys really, really soon. Let me know down below your relationship experience when you've dealt with something like this. And I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Bye.